There's a reason most men never earn a woman's respect, and it's not because of money, looks, or charm. It's because most men are chasing the wrong thing. They think if they're kind enough, available enough, or loving enough, she'll finally see their worth. But the truth is, respect doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from what you refuse to give away, your self-respect. See, women can feel energy long before they see results. She can tell if you're leading your life or following hers. She can sense whether your kindness is strength or weakness. And the moment she feels you're trying to earn her approval, something inside her disconnects. It's not because she's cruel, it's because nature wired her to admire strength, not submission. You could be the most handsome guy in the room, the most generous, the most loyal, but if your world revolves around her validation, she'll subconsciously lose interest. Why? Because she can't respect a man who doesn't respect himself first. Respect is quiet. It's the way you say no without raising your voice. It's the way you don't explain yourself every time you're misunderstood. It's the calm confidence that says, I know who I am, with or without your approval. That's what separates a man she tolerates from a man she can't ignore. So, if you've ever wondered why she pulled away, why she lost interest, or why she stopped seeing you the way she used to, stop looking at her and start looking at yourself. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to remember who you were before you started begging for love. Because when a man respects himself, every woman around him feels it, and that's where real attraction begins. The harsh reality, here's the harsh truth, most men don't want to face. Women don't lose interest because you're not good enough. They lose interest because they can feel that you don't believe you are. Every time you try to prove your worth, to show her how much you care, to remind her how loyal or different you are, she feels it, that desperate need for validation, that quiet energy that says, please like me, and the moment she senses that, respect starts to fade. See, women don't respect men who need to be told they're valuable. They respect men who already know they are. Because when you need her approval, you've already handed her your power. You've made her the judge of your worth. And no matter how kind, caring, or loving she is, no woman wants to be with a man she has to validate. She might enjoy your attention for a while, but she can't feel safe in your presence. She can't admire a man who doesn't stand solid in his own identity. Most men don't even realize they're doing it. They text too fast. They over-explain. They apologize for things they didn't do. They give more than they receive. They think being the nice guy will make her stay, but what they're really showing is fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of losing her. Fear of not being enough. And women can smell that fear like smoke in the air. The truth is, attraction dies the moment a man stops leading himself. When you start making her opinion your compass, you lose direction, and when you lose direction, she loses trust. Women don't follow perfection, they follow presence. They don't want a man who chases them. They want a man who's already chasing his purpose. So, if she's pulling away, stop chasing and start centering yourself. Stop asking what she wants, and start asking what kind of man you want to be. Because respect isn't something you earn by pleasing her. It's something you command by standing firm in who you are. And once you do that, you'll never need to beg for love again. It'll come to you naturally. The approval trap. Most men today are stuck in a silent trap. The approval trap. It doesn't look dangerous at first. It looks like being polite, being attentive, being the good guy. But underneath that nice behavior is a hidden addiction. The need for validation. You can see it everywhere. Men double texting when she doesn't reply. Overthinking every message, explaining themselves just to sound right, apologizing for things that didn't even need an apology. It's not confidence, It's fear dressed as effort. And here's the part that stings. Women can feel it instantly. They don't even have to think about it. Something in their instincts just knows when a man's energy is off. You might say all the right words, do all the right things, but if your actions come from a place of insecurity, instead of strength, she'll feel it. Respect can't grow in the soil of neediness. The approval trap makes men forget who they are. They start molding themselves into whatever they think she wants. They stop saying what they really feel, stop setting boundaries, stop standing on their values, all because they fear losing her. But what they don't realize is, every time they bend just to keep her, they're actually teaching her to stop respecting them. The more you try to please her, the less she sees you as powerful. And deep down you know it. You know that sinking feeling when you send a message and wait for a reply that never comes. That small panic when she seems distant. That voice in your head that says, "What did I do wrong?" That's not love. That's dependence. And it's killing your masculinity, one apology at a time. Real connection doesn't come from proving your worth. It comes from owning it. From being okay with silence. From not chasing after every bit of attention. When you stop seeking validation, you become validation. You move differently. You speak slower. You stop reacting. And that's when she starts to notice you again. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because you finally remembered that her approval is optional, and your self-respect is not. The energy women actually respect. Women don't respect loud men. They don't respect men who try to prove their strengths through control, anger or ego. That kind of energy might look powerful on the surface, but underneath it's just insecurity wearing a mask. Real respect, the kind that makes a woman look at a man differently, comes from emotional grounding. It's the quiet, steady presence of someone who doesn't get shaken easily. A man who doesn't need to win every argument, doesn't need to react to every mood, and doesn't need to prove that he's in control. He simply is in control of himself. When a woman tests you, and she will, she's not trying to destroy you. She's trying to see if you're real. She's testing the strengths of your foundation. Because if your peace can be taken by a simple disagreement, a delayed text, or her emotional storm, then your power was never real to begin with. The man who stays calm when tested earns a kind of silent admiration that words can't describe. She may not say it out loud, but deep down she feels it. This man can handle me. This man can handle life. It's not dominance she's drawn to. It's composure. It's the man who listens instead of shouts, who pauses instead of panics, who walks away from chaos instead of matching it. That calmness is magnetic, because it signals mastery, not of her, but of himself. And when a man can master himself, everything around him begins to fall into place. Women respect men who can make them feel safe, not by protecting them from the world, but by showing that nothing in the world can easily disturb their peace. It's that subtle, grounded confidence that says, "I've got me, no matter what happens." That's the energy that earns respect, quiet, stable, and unshakable. Because the truth is, anyone can raise their voice, but only a few can lower their tone when everything around them is trying to break their balance. And that kind of strength, calm, contained, and consistent, is what separates boys seeking validation from men who command respect without ever asking for it. Masculine stillness versus emotional chaos. There's a difference between a man who reacts and a man who responds. One is driven by emotion, the other by awareness. One is loud, desperate, constantly needing to be understood. The other is calm, centered, and quietly in control. Women can feel that difference instantly. It's the difference between safety and instability. When a man lives in emotional chaos, everything about him becomes unpredictable. He overthinks. He overreacts. He takes everything personally. A small disagreement turns into a storm. A delayed reply turns into panic. His emotions run him instead of him running them. And while he might think that being expressive shows he cares, what it really shows is that he's not in control of himself. That's not masculine energy. That's emotional volatility. Now picture the opposite. The man who stays grounded even when things go wrong. He doesn't chase, doesn't explain too much, doesn't let his peace be hijacked by temporary emotions. His stillness speaks louder than any words could. He doesn't need to demand respect. His presence commands it. Because there's something magnetic about a man who doesn't lose his center no matter what's happening around him. He becomes the calm in the storm. And that calmness pulls people in, especially women. You see, masculine stillness isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about having emotions without letting them control your decisions. It's about being aware enough to pause before reacting. It's the strength to listen, the patience to think, and the wisdom to walk away when needed. That kind of composure creates gravity. The kind that makes others naturally want to be around you. A reactive man chases control through noise. A still man already has it. And that's the quiet truth most don't understand. You don't become magnetic by saying more, proving more, or doing more. You become magnetic when your energy says, I don't need to be chosen. I'm already complete. That's masculine stillness, the rare power of being calm in a chaotic world. And once a man masters that, he doesn't have to chase respect or love. Both start chasing him. Boundaries create respect. Nothing builds respect faster than a man who knows how to say. Not with anger, not with ego, but with quiet certainty. Because when you say no, you're not rejecting someone else. You're protecting yourself. You're drawing a line that says, this is who I am, this is what I allow, and this is where I stop. Most men lose respect because they fear setting those lines. They think that by always saying yes they'll be loved more, needed more, appreciated more. But in reality, every time you abandon your boundaries to please someone, you teach them to value you less. Women can sense when a man has boundaries. It shows in how he carries himself, how he speaks, how he handles pressure. A man with no boundaries is easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to lose interest in. But a man with strong values, who's not afraid to walk away rather than betray them, instantly commands attention. That firmness is rare. It signals integrity, self-respect, and emotional maturity. And that combination is magnetic. Here's the truth. Saying no might cost you people, but it will never cost you respect. The man who's willing to lose someone for the sake of his principles always ends up gaining something more valuable. Himself. Boundaries are what separate men who want to be liked from men who choose to be respected. And respect doesn't come from how nice you are. It comes from how clearly you define what's acceptable. You don't need to raise your voice or prove your worth. You just need to mean what you say, and stand by it when it matters most. The man who can say, I won't tolerate that, without breaking his composure, radiates strength. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks. You decide who gets access, and on what terms. That's how you protect your energy, your peace, and your power. And when a woman realizes that your love comes with standards, not desperation, her respect for you deepens. Because deep down, every woman admires a man who doesn't need to be liked to stand tall. A man who can say no with calm confidence will always be the one she remembers and respects. The mystery factor. There's something magnetic about a man who doesn't reveal everything. In a world where everyone overshares, over-explains, and tries to prove themselves, mystery has become rare, and that rarity is powerful. When a man holds a bit of himself back, not out of manipulation, but out of quiet confidence, it pulls people in, especially women, because mystery isn't about playing games. It's about having depth. It's about knowing that not everyone deserves to know every detail of who you are. A man who keeps some of his world private gives off a sense of control. He's not trying to impress anyone. He's not desperate to be understood. He's simply living his life, focused on his purpose, and unbothered. If someone can't figure him out, that kind of restraint creates curiosity. It makes her wonder, who is he really? And that question is what keeps attraction alive. Because when there's mystery, there's space for imagination, and imagination is the foundation of desire.
The opposite is what most men do. They overshare their emotions too soon, constantly explain themselves, and try to make sure she gets them. They think openness equals connection. But too much exposure too soon kills intrigue. The truth is you don't need to prove your sincerity through endless talking or constant reassurance. Your presence, your silence, and your actions should speak for you. Respect is born when she realizes you don't need her validation, when she sees that your confidence isn't built on her approval, that even if she walks away, you'll still stand tall, still move forward, still be yourself. That's when she starts seeing you differently. Not as another man chasing attention, but as a man who chooses where he gives his energy. Mystery keeps the spark alive, because it communicates strength. It says, I know who I am, and you'll learn that in time, not because I'm hiding it, but because I value it. A man like that becomes unforgettable, because while everyone else is busy trying to be seen, he's busy being solid. And that quiet confidence, that balance between openness and restraint, is what turns respect into fascination. The silent test. Every woman, whether she realizes it or not, will test a man, not out of cruelty, not out of manipulation, but out of instinct. It's her way of asking a silent question. Can I trust you to stay steady when things get hard? These tests don't always look like challenges. Sometimes they come as small moments, a sharp comment, a bit of attitude, a delay in response, or an emotional withdrawal. And most men fail them instantly, not because they're bad men, but because they take them personally. When a woman tests you, she's not trying to push you away. She's trying to see if you'll stay grounded or crumble under pressure. Because deep down, every woman wants to feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. And safety is born from stability. A man who loses control, gets defensive, or starts arguing every time he's tested, reveals that he's ruled by emotion. But a man who stays calm, composed and unbothered, communicates something powerful. I'm not here to compete with you. I'm here to lead myself. Every test is an opportunity to prove strength without saying a word. The more you stay centered in who you are, the more she sees that nothing she does can knock you off balance. That's when respect starts to grow. Because true masculinity isn't about reacting, it's about responding with clarity. You don't need to match her energy, outsmart her, or prove a point. You just need to remain calm and consistent. The key is not to view these moments as games, but as mirrors. Every test reflects how much control you truly have over yourself. Do you stay patient? Do you stay kind without becoming weak? Do you keep your peace instead of chasing hers? When you pass these silent tests, something shifts. She feels it. She relaxes. She trusts you more. Not because you told her, because your energy made her feel safe enough to. That's the secret. The man who stays calm when tested earns a level of respect that words can't buy. Because in a world full of men who react, the one who remains still becomes unforgettable.
Purpose over attention. A man who lives for attention will always be chasing it. But a man who lives for purpose doesn't have to chase anything. People respect and love start chasing him. That's the paradox most men never understand. They make women the center of their lives, and then wonder why those same women stop seeing them as powerful. The truth is simple. When your world revolves around her, you stop revolving around your mission. And the moment you lose that direction, she loses respect. There's something magnetic about a man who's deeply focused on what he's building. A man with vision walks differently. He talks with intention. His energy is disciplined, not desperate. He's not waiting for someone to give him purpose. He's already living it. Women can feel that energy instantly. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. It's that quiet confidence that says, I'm already on my path. You're welcome to join me, but I'll keep moving either way. Most men don't realize that attention fades fast. You can get it with good looks, money or charm. But if there's no direction behind it, it burns out. Purpose, on the other hand, builds gravity. It creates respect, because it shows consistency. It shows that you're not easily distracted, not easily broken, and not easily impressed. You're building something real, something that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. When your purpose is bigger than her, that's when she finally looks up to you. Not because you're above her, but because you remind her what leadership looks like. A man who's grounded in his mission doesn't need validation to feel valuable. His focus speaks louder than any compliment he could ever ask for. The irony is, when you stop seeking attention and start pursuing your vision, you become 10 times more attractive. Because now, your energy says you're fulfilled, not empty, you're complete, not craving. And that's the kind of man people respect. The man who doesn't lose himself in love, but brings his love through the strength of his purpose. So stop chasing attention, build your mission, because the moment your goals become louder than your need to be noticed, that's when the world and she will start noticing you for real. Confidence through detachment. True confidence isn't loud. It isn't about dominance, control, or pretending you don't care. Real confidence is quiet detachment. The ability to walk away without anger, without bitterness, and without needing closure. It's the strength to say, I gave what I could, I stayed true to myself, and that's enough. The man who can leave calmly is the man she'll never forget, because calm detachment shows the highest form of self-respect. Most men confuse attachment with love. They believe that holding on tighter means caring more. But what it really means is fear. Fear of loss, fear of being alone, fear of not finding something better. That fear is what makes men beg, chase, argue and lose their balance. And every time you lose your peace to keep someone else, you're teaching yourself that love must cost your dignity. It doesn't. Detachment isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about knowing that you can love deeply without losing yourself in the process. It's about realizing that your value doesn't shrink just because someone else couldn't see it. When you understand that, you move differently. You stop forcing things. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop begging for what should flow naturally. That calm, quiet strength is what people respect most, especially women. A man who can walk away without hate shows emotional mastery. He's not trying to win. He's not trying to prove. He's just at peace with what is. That peace leaves a mark, because it's rare. Most people explode when they're hurt. Few can breathe through it and keep walking forward. Detachment gives you freedom. The freedom to choose yourself even when it hurts. To stay centered when others lose control. To let go without losing love. And that's the paradox. When you no longer need someone to stay, they feel it. They sense that strength, that quiet confidence, and it draws them in, because real power isn't in holding on. It's in being able to let go with grace. And the man who can do that becomes unforgettable. The man women truly respect. The man women truly respect isn't perfect. He's present. He's calm in chaos, grounded in truth, and steady in his emotions. He's not driven by the need to impress, control, or be validated. His confidence doesn't come from attention. It comes from knowing exactly who he is. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't argue, he leads. Because his strength isn't loud. It's silent, consistent, and undeniable. This kind of man doesn't lose himself trying to be liked. He has boundaries, purpose, and peace. 3 things that can't be faked. He knows that love built on approval isn't love at all. So he focuses on becoming the kind of man who earns respect without demanding it. He's not desperate to prove his worth. He embodies it. He can love a woman deeply, but never at the cost of his self-respect. That's what makes him powerful.
He's mysterious, not because he hides, but because he doesn't need to overshare to be understood. His silence speaks louder than noise. His actions carry more weight than promises, and his calmness creates trust without words. When life tests him, he doesn't fold. He breathes, observes, and responds with intention. And that steadiness makes people, especially women, feel something rare: safety. This man knows his purpose, and protects his energy. He's not distracted by every passing temptation or opinion. He's focused on building something greater than himself, a life that reflects discipline, strength and peace. And that's what women truly admire. Not the man who tries to be everything for her, but the man who already is everything for himself. Because respect isn't given to the loudest man in the room. It's given to the one who doesn't need to compete for it. It's the way he walks away without resentment, stays humble in his victories, and calm in his storms. That's the man who earns respect effortlessly. In the end, women don't respect perfection. They respect presence. The kind of presence that says, I don't need to prove I'm a man, I simply am one. And that energy, that quiet authority, is what turns admiration into loyalty, and respect into love. In the end, women don't respect who you pretend to be. They respect the man who doesn't need to prove he's one. The man who's grounded in who he is, calm in his energy, clear in his purpose. The one who doesn't need to raise his voice to be heard, or chase love to feel worthy. Because real strength isn't about control. It's about composure. It's about standing tall, even when everything around you is trying to pull you down. You see, the moment you stop trying to impress her, you start to impress yourself. The moment you stop chasing attention, you start to attract respect. Because a man who truly knows his value never begs to be seen. His presence, that's the kind of man who doesn't just earn respect, he commands it. Quietly, naturally, effortlessly. Every choice you make either builds your power or gives it away. You can keep playing small, explaining, overthinking, seeking validation, or you can start becoming the man who doesn't need any of that. The man whose silence says more than words ever could. The man whose calmness shakes the room. The man who knows that peace isn't found in being chosen. It's found in choosing yourself first. So tell me, what kind of man are you becoming? The one who seeks approval, or the one who already owns his worth? Drop your answer in the comments, and be honest. Because this is where transformation begins. And if you're ready to step into that version of yourself, the version that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't break, hit subscribe. Because your evolution, your power, and your respect all start right here.